Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you on Wednesday. I hope all is well. Weird day today, isn't it? For the first time in what feels like forever, we're waking up and there's no World Cup games to keep us entertained. None tomorrow either, as we all prepare for the quarter-finals to get underway. So we are now entering the rest day periods at the World Cup. But having said that, we do have Arsenal to look forward to over the next couple of days, because they are, of course, in action tomorrow against Lyon in the Dubai Super Cup. So silver linings, of course, and I will be talking about that game a little bit later on in this video, trying to do my predicted 11, which is going to be nigh on impossible, I would suggest, but I will have a go nonetheless. But of course, I've got to start today's video talking about Gabriel Jesus. I said yesterday that the results were expected from the knee scans that he had after flying back from Qatar after picking up that knee injury against Cameroon. The scan results have come through and everyone's worst fears have been realised. Gabriel Jesus has now undergone surgery, Arsenal confirming it last night when they put out a statement on their website that he had undergone successful surgery on his knee injury. In a very short statement, they then said that everyone at the club is going to be working hard to make sure Gabriel Jesus is back sooner, as soon as possible, which you would expect. There was no definitive time frame put on that potential return for Jesus. Arsenal saying sort of off the record that it's just too early to speculate really in terms of a possible time frame. Arsenal have started sort of doing that when it comes to injuries, not really talking about timeframes, because and to be honest, I can understand why, because it kind of puts a little bit of pressure on really. And if a player doesn't return in that time, then suddenly it's like the medical staff have mucked up, which isn't the case obviously. But we'll have to wait and see. It looks like it's going to be around 2 to 3 months anyway, but again, that's not a date or a time frame that can be set in stone. But he's going to be out for the foreseeable future, which is unfortunate. I mean, fingers crossed he can recover quickly. Some players do, they recover quicker than others. Hopefully Jesus falls into that category, but I think we all just have to sit here and accept now that we're at the start of December. We're probably not going to see Jesus back in action much before February or March. We'll have to wait and see. Hopefully he has a miracle recovery and we see him sooner than that, but we'll have to time will tell on that one. It is a massive blow, there's no doubt about it. It's a huge blow for Arsenal, it's a huge blow for Arteta. I mean, it's a huge blow for your title hopes, and it seems mad saying that because none of us expected Arsenal at the start of the season to be in sort of talking about title hopes. But you have to say right now at the break, after 14 games, they're 5 points clear at the top of the table. They've got to be looking at mounting a serious title charge, and to not have Jesus for 2 or 3 months is going to be a huge blow to that, because we've seen how transformative he's been. I mean, he's literally, and that's a word it absolutely sums him up, he's transformed Arsenal since he's arrived. He's not done it on his own by any means. There's been lots of excellent performers, but what Jesus has done to that attack, what he's brought to it, the movement, the work rate, everything about it, he has just transformed it. It's an attack that, the last couple of seasons has been pretty stale at times, even with the, brilliant Bukayo Saka there doing everything on his own for the last couple of seasons, really. It's been pretty stale at times, pretty one-dimensional. Jesus has come in and just transformed it completely, and he's led from the front. Yes, he's only scored 5 goals, but I mean doesn't go anywhere near to explaining just what he's done in terms of what he's brought to the side elsewhere. And to not have that now for the next 2 or 3 months is going to be a massive blow. There's no doubt about it, and it's going to really change what Arsenal are going to do. You look at, obviously, Eddie Nketiah is the main man to come in and replace him for now. Obviously, there's going to be lots of talk about the January transfer window replacing him. I'm not going to really talk about it in this video. I think I might do a video tomorrow sort of looking at January and Jesus' injury and what Arsenal might or might not do. But just for now, just looking at the options that Arsenal have when it comes to the squad, you've obviously got Nketiah as the main man. This is what he's been waiting for. I think when he ended last season so well, when he signed his new contract in the summer, he probably thought he was going to get an awful lot of opportunities in the Premier League this season. He has played in 12 of the 14 games Arsenal have had in the Premier League, but he hasn't started one. All of his starts and all of his goals have come in the Europa League or the Carabao Cup. This is the opportunity he's been waiting for. This is the moment that he's got a real chance to have a massive impact on Arsenal's season, and he is clearly the main man at the moment to come in and fill the void left by Jesus. Arsenal do have another option in terms of following Balogun, of course, who's having a very, very good season over in France with Reims. I think he scored 8 in 15 for them. He's on loan for the season. There is the option of Arsenal recalling him early from that loan. I believe that option is there. I can't see Arsenal doing that. I'd be very surprised, just because he's having such a good season in France. He's clearly benefiting from playing week in, week out. I think Arsenal are going to be reluctant to bring him back now, just for him, for the majority of games, to be sat on the bench getting the odd minute here and there. I just don't think they're going to do that. I think they'd much rather keep him in France, where he can continue to progress, and then bring him back in the summer and make a further decision on him then. So you look at Nketiah, you've got Martinelli who can play there. You know, Smith Rowe's coming back. Fingers crossed that all goes well. And then if he does come back, then you can play Smith Rowe on the left. You can play Martinelli as a central striker if needs be, if there's an issue with Nketiah. But for now, Nketiah is obviously the main man. This is his big opportunity to impress. And if he can, he showed what he could do at the end of last season when he got his run in the team. The one issue is, I think, Nketiah will score goals. There's no doubt about it. If you give Nketiah a chance, or chances, he will score. He's proved that over the years when he's at Arsenal. He's a good finisher in and around the penalty area. He can absolutely do that. I mean, there's an argument to say he could almost score more. He probably would have scored more goals than Jesus this season had he been starting the same amount of games that Jesus had. It's a very strong argument. In fact, I think he probably would have scored a lot more than 5 goals if he'd have started every game. But as I said earlier in this video, what Jesus is about and what he's brought to this Arsenal side is about more than goals. Yes, he's a striker, but it is definitely about more than goals. Anyone who's watched Arsenal this season can see it. He has brought so much to the team. He has made so many goals with his movement, with his work ethic, with his just constant harrying of defenders. And that's where he's going to be massively, massively missed. And Nketiah, for the sort of positives that he has and for his attributes, we know what they're like as a sort of poacher, penalty box finisher. But can he do what Jesus does? Can he put the pressure on the centre-backs that Jesus does? Can he cause them the likes of Virgil van Dijk so many problems when he comes up against them, like Jesus did against Chelsea away at Stamford Bridge, when, yes, he didn't score, but he just absolutely dominated those centre-backs for 90 minutes. Can Nketiah do that? That's the big question. That's what he's going to have to prove over the next couple of months or so, because Arsenal got some big, big games coming up. They go to Tottenham next month. They got United coming up. They got Manchester City coming up in February. And if Arsenal don't do anything in the transfer market, which again I'll talk about maybe the prospect of that tomorrow, but if they don't do anything when it comes to signing a striker, it's going to be Nketiah's time to shine here, and it's going to be it's a massive opportunity. This is what he wants. This is what he's always called for. Now he's got it. It's up to him to step up and fill the void left by Jesus. Granit Xhaka has been talking about it. His first Arsenal player to really talk about it, because he was Simon Collins, excellent reporter. I'm sure you all know him. Does all the Arsenal stuff for the Evening Standard. He's over in Qatar at the moment covering the World Cup, and he spoke to Granit yesterday in the mix zone after the Switzerland-Portugal game, and asked about the Jesus situation. And Eddie, this is what he had to say on the injury. He said, "It's a shame because you saw in the first round of the Premier League how important it is for us. I don't know how big the injury is, maybe 2 or 3 months. I think he's a strong guy. We will support him." I think he revealed that he's been speaking to him. I retweeted Simon's interview with Granit earlier today, so you can find that on my timeline if you haven't seen it yet, and go and read the story and the full quotes of what Granit had to say about the situation. He was also asked about Eddie Nketiah and backing him, and he said, "Look, we have to. We have the option with Eddie, of course. He showed great games as well in the past. We need to support Eddie because he will be a big, big part of the next 2 or 3 months." And that's the thing, Eddie's suddenly got a lot of pressure on his shoulders now. I think Dubai is going to be key for him now, because if he can get a couple of goals in these games against decent opposition, I think that will do him the world of good ahead of the game against West Ham, because he's going to know that there's going to be a lot of pressure on him. Everyone's going to be looking at him. Everyone's going to say, right, or not everyone, but a lot of people are going to be looking at this situation now and thinking Arsenal have to go out in the January transfer market and sign a replacement for Jesus. Nketiah is going to know that. If he doesn't score, if he struggles a little bit, then those questions are only going to get bigger and bigger. The pressure on him is only going to get bigger and bigger. I think it's going to be very important and key to seeing how Arsenal and Arteta and players like Granit, the leaders in this team, sort of help push but also protect Nketiah over the next couple of months, because he's going to be an awful lot of spotlight is going to be on him, and it's going to be very interesting to see how he handles that. Granit also said in those, while he was speaking to Sai, also revealed that he's going to be coming back. He's going to be flying straight to Dubai, in fact, to join up with the squad. I spoke about this a little bit on yesterday's video and why Arsenal are in Dubai, and Arteta wants his players to go over there. We saw Tomiyasu speaking earlier in the week saying that he wanted a little bit of time and to get over the World Cup, how disappointed he was, and he hoped he was going to get time to be given a little bit of a rest. Granit said the complete opposite. He said, look, I just want to forget about this tournament now. It's done and dusted. I want to get over to Dubai, start training with my teammates, and really just focus on the Premier League now, because we've got big things to do. It's interesting when you see different players and how they approach the thing. It doesn't surprise me with Granit, because that's the kind of player he is. And it'll be interesting if Arsenal or Arteta just says to him, look, calm down a little bit, just give yourself a few days, get home, have a little bit of time with your family, then come over to Dubai, and maybe get the second part of the trip there. So it'll be interesting to see if Granit does go, but he certainly wants to, and he said that in the interview yesterday. Okay, so tomorrow's game. Now, fast approaching, Arsenal versus Lyon in the Dubai Super Cup. Clearly the big trophy on offer at the moment in world football. Not forget about what's going on in Qatar. It's all about the Dubai Super Cup. Arsenal, Lyon, Milan and Liverpool all gets underway in the next 24 hours. Arsenal not playing Liverpool, we know that. They play Lyon tomorrow, and then they play AC Milan on Tuesday. If you don't know how this all works, 3 points for a win, obviously 2 points I believe for a draw, not just 1 point, 2 points. And whatever the result, win, lose, draw, there is always going to be a penalty shootout at the end of each match, with 1 extra point going to the winners. So that will get us underway tomorrow with Arsenal versus Lyon, the Lacazette reunion. And Arsenal have been training over there since flew out on Sunday. Had the first training session on Monday and been training every day, building up to this game. Arteta, he's taking it very, very seriously. I'm not saying he's taking the tournament very, very seriously, but the training camp he's taking very, very seriously. He wants the squad to be in really good shape ahead of the return from the World Cup. I think we'll see a strong side in the first half. As I said yesterday, I don't think he'll do exactly what he did against Watford when he played the senior players on the first half and then changed it completely and put in just a team of under-21s for the second half. And when you look at the result, what happened against Watford, Arsenal were 2-1 up at half time. When the senior players came in, they ended up losing it 4-2 at the end of the game, because he chucked in all the under-21s. And when I say under-21s, there's a 15-year-old and a 16-year-old over there as well. I don't think he'll do that this time, just because of the standard of opposition. I think it might do the young kids more harm than good. I think he might try and mix and match it a little bit, give them opportunities, but opportunities alongside some of the senior players. I think for the starting 11, now this is a team I'm going to predict is going to start that game against Lyon. It's probably going to be hopelessly wrong. Honestly, it's virtually impossible. It's hard enough at the best of times, but in a game like this, it's really hard. But this is what I'm going to go for. Hine in goal, because we know Ramsdale's not there. I don't think Turner has gone over to the Dubai yet. Not as far as I'm aware. He might have done, but I'm not as far as aware. So I'm going to go Hine in goal. I'm going to go Cedric at right back. Rob Holding and Gabriel as the two centre-backs. I'm going to go Zinchenko as the left back. Then Mohamed Elneny, Martin Odegaard and Sambi Lokonga in the midfield three. I'm going to say Fabio Vieira on the right. Reece Nelson on the left, and Eddie Nketiah as a central striker. There's other options there, of course, like Marquinhos, people like that, but that's what I'm going for. Like I said, it's probably going to be hugely wrong, but that is my predicted 11 for the game. So Hine, Cedric, Holding, Gabriel, Zinchenko, Elneny, Odegaard, Sambi, Vieira, Nketiah, Nelson. Let's see how wrong that is when the team gets announced tomorrow. Like I said, you can watch it, you can buy a couple of passes, or a pass for each game, or a joint pass, which is slightly cheaper, I think, on Arsenal.com. They will be streaming the matches live. You'll probably be able to find it elsewhere as well, but that's if you want to get onto Arsenal.com, all the details are available on the site. All right, that's it from me, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. As always, please do enjoy the rest of your day. I'll speak to you very, very soon.